President Trump's 7th cabinet meeting brings a bevy of updates from Russia to the Fed. Democrats and legacy media officials claim that Trump's crime policies, economic policies, and, well, every other kind of policy are built on hating black people, leading to a potential midterm crisis. I'm Tony Kinnett, host of the Daily Signal's Tony Kinnett Cast, syndicated nationally at 7 p.m. Eastern. It is Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. This is the Daily Signal's top news in 10. Yesterday, President Trump's 7th cabinet meeting was also his longest, over 3 hours, in which quite a few questions were asked and updates given. For example, some of the updates involved individuals like Secretary of State Marco Rubio praising the president's policies and then suggesting that he was looking forward to Labor Day.
So Marco, go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, first of all, everyone's made this comment already and needs to be echoed again. You were elected as the president of working Americans, and that's why this Labor Day is so meaningful. For me personally, this is the most meaningful Labor Day of my life as someone with 4 jobs. And so, it's true.
And the questions flew in as well. For example, from this one New York Post reporter about the current situation regarding Russia and Putin, Ukraine and Zelensky, and the amount of different stories currently flying around about what is and isn't going to happen, and the President of the United States' rather frank response.
This past weekend, Sergei Lavrov was saying that Putin will not sign a peace deal with Zelensky because Russia views him as illegitimate. Just wondering if the Russians have been relaying this to your team, if they view Zelensky, as a leader worth signing a peace deal with, if they will.
Doesn't matter what they say. Steve can answer, but I can answer too. Doesn't matter what they say. Everybody's posturing. It's all bull. Okay, everybody's posturing. Steve, do you have a different answer?
I agree with you, sir.
Our Daily Signal White House correspondent Elizabeth Mitchell got 2 questions answered by the president. The first on Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's argument and plan to encourage.
Governor Pritzker said yesterday that at a press conference that he would encourage nonviolent resistance to the National Guard if they were sent to Chicago. What's your response to that?
He said what?
That he would encourage nonviolent resistance if the National Guard is sent to Chicago.
Look, this guy doesn't know what resistance is or nonviolent resistance is. He's a bad politician. It's amazing. I mean, if he didn't have the money, he wouldn't get any votes because there's no compelling reason to vote for him. The guy's a major loser. But it would be nice if he would call me. I would change my mind immediately. He said, because everybody knows Chicago is a hellhole right now. Everybody knows it. It's not like he's saying, Chicago has much better numbers, right? Well, what's much better? You mean 100 people are going to be murdered? It's going to be much more than that. So
Mitchell also asked for an update on whether or not the president had plans to replace Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, who Trump had fired for possible mortgage fraud. Any replacements in mind for her particular position?
Who are you considering for the replacement to nominate for Lisa Cook, and what economic background or history are you?
Well, we have some very good people for that position, and I think we have some very good people. We're down to, I think I maybe in my own mind have somebody that I like, but I deal with Scott and I deal with Howard, and we're dealing with a lot of people actually that are going to be involved in that decision ultimately. It's a very important decision. As we see, I got a bad recommendation when I went with Jerome too late. He's too late.
Now, regarding the claims of mortgage fraud that Lisa Cook might have committed, CNN's analysis was certainly raising a couple of eyebrows. Quote, a CNN review of mortgage documents shows that Cook took out mortgages for 2 properties, both of which were listed as her principal residence, which is the legal definition of mortgage fraud. However, according to CNN, it's not known why she did so or if she did so intentionally. Now, this led to a number of racial accusations from many members of the Democrat House of Representatives, including from Representative Jasmine Crockett, Democrat of Texas. Quote, for the first time in 111 years, a president is planning to fire a sitting Fed governor, and of course, it's the first black woman, Lisa Cook. Trump's message is clear. When black women rise, he'll do anything to push us down. Newsflash, we're not going anywhere. Democrat Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also issued a statement condemning Trump's firing of Lisa Cook, saying, quote, Dr. Lisa Cook is the first black woman ever to serve on the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Donald Trump is trying to remove her without a shred of credible evidence that she has done anything wrong. Jeffries has also recently accused President Trump of being anti-black in other CNN State of the Union interviews about the Trump-Smithsonian policy changes.
Something that President Trump is doing here in Washington, which is he's launched a review of the Smithsonian museums because he says, quote, everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was. You're the highest ranking African American in the U.S. government. What do you think?
There is no good aspect of slavery. And so Donald Trump is once again behaving like a racial arsonist. And it's extraordinary that he would make such a historically ignorant statement. The Smithsonian should continue to hold the line and make sure that this very painful part of American history is not erased, but is understood by everyone across this country and throughout the world.
And there are other Democrats around the country who are currently claiming that Trump is deploying the National Guard to different big cities in order to begin the process of rounding up black people.
We believe that the National Guard and the military occupation is the first step into rounding black people up and putting them in detainment camps here in Washington, D.C. and around the United States of America.
Though the plan to suggest Donald Trump is racist may not be the most refreshing or new strategy the Democrats could have offered, it may turn out to be particularly impactful in the midterms, just not in the way they're looking for. Here's Harry Enton, analyst over on CNN, going over some of the recent approval ratings data.
Democratic brand right now has about the appeal with the American voter as the Cracker Barrel rebrand has with the American consumers. Bad, bad, bad. What are you doing? Oh, my goodness gracious. What are we talking about here in terms of big party registration changes in the key swing states? Let's look at the key 4 swing states that, in fact, do keep track of registration by party. Look, the Republican Party is in their best position at this point in the cycle since at least 2005, and all 4 of these key battleground states. We go out to the Southwest, Arizona. How about Nevada? Republicans haven't done this well since 2005. Oh, my goodness gracious, at this point in the cycle. North Carolina, I couldn't find a point at which Republicans were doing better at this point in the cycle. It's at least this century. It probably goes way back in the last century. And Pennsylvania, very similar. Republicans doing better at this point than at any point this century, at least as far as I could find. Now, what types of gains are we talking about here for the Republican Party? Well, let's compare it to this point during the first Trump administration all the way back in 2017. Look at this. The Republican Party gains in party registration compared to this point back in 2017 during the Trump first administration. In Arizona, you got a Republican gain of 3 points. Okay, how about Nevada? Up the hill we go, even though we're sticking in the Southwest. A gain of 6 points. How about, again, we come to the East Coast, North Carolina, a gain of 8 points for the Republicans. And in the Keystone State, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, again, we're talking about a gain of 8 points. My goodness gracious, for Republicans, they are converting old former Democrats to their side of the ledger, as well as picking up new voters, registering new voters, and it absolutely paid off for them back in the 2024 election. Now, of course, Donald Trump has been president since January. Are there any bright spots for Democrats? Have they picked up any ground since January 1 in terms of party registration? Not in these key swing states, these 4 key swing states. What are we talking about? Party registration margin gains since January 1, 2025. Which parties gain in Arizona? The GOP. How about Nevada? The GOP. North Carolina? The GOP. How about in Pennsylvania? We'll make it 4 for 4, the GOP. The bottom line is this, Jessica Dean. When it comes to party registration, Republicans have made massive gains compared to 8 years ago. They are in their best position in these key 4 swing states dating back at least 20 years. You have to go back at least 20 years, at least in the case of Nevada, longer in North Carolina and Pennsylvania. So Republicans looking pretty gosh darn good, at least when it comes to party registration. and we'll see what happens down the road. But at this point, as I said at the beginning, the Democratic brand is in about as good a position as the Cracker Barrel rebrand. It is bad, bad, bad for the Democrats.
Before you go, head down to the description and make sure you're subscribed to the Tony Kinnett, where you can catch our interview on this growing midterm crisis for the Democrats with Dr. Victor Davis Hanson. We'll include a link for that specific episode as well. And you can, of course, join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, as you can every weeknight at 7, for a roundup of the day's news and nonsense, including a special report down from El Paso at the border with our very own Virginia Allen. I'm Tony Kinnett, and this has been the Daily Signal's Top News in 10. Take care.